name is Daria, welcome to my channel, and today I have my finale for Pen Z palette. I'm very excited about it, and I'm a little bit ill, so I may sound different, but I was just so excited about this video, so I've decided to film it anyway. So for the past couple of months I've been working on this palette. It's Venus Success in the shade Rose Gold from Lime Crime. And now you will be able to see what this palette looked like in January. I haven't rolled it in yet at that point into this project. I rolled this palette in only in September, I think. But in January I had some dips in this palette. I've used it quite a bit prior to January, but I didn't have yet any pens. And when I rolled it in September, I've had two pens in the shade Eternal and Charm. So in my October update, I've managed to hit pens also on Angelic and Divinity and expand pens in Charm and Eternal quite a bit. In my November update, I've finished Charm and I've expanded all of the other pens in this palette. And in my last update I had the second finished shade, it was Divinity, and I had quite big pens in both Angelic and Eternal. And now you can see what this palette is looking like today, and it's completely empty. I'm so happy about, to be honest. I wasn't sure that I will be able to do it by the end of the year, just because I repressed this palette after my last update. I repressed the two remaining shades and I still had quite a lot of product to go. But I've managed to finish both of the shades because I basically used them every time I did my makeup since my last update in order to finish them. But let's talk about my uses. So I used lighter matte shade Angelic 19 additional times since my last update, and in total it took me 87 uses to finish it up completely. Since my last update I've been using it as a blush mainly, but also sometimes I've been using it in my crease. Before that I've been using it all over my lid and in my crease as well, but after the last update I've decided to try and use another matte shade, Eternal, that way, and just use Angelic as a blush. And it took me 19 additional uses to finish Angelic up. So I've used Eternal 15 additional times since my last update, and in total it took me 78 uses to finish it up completely. And as I said, since my last update I've been using Eternal all over my lid and on my lower lash line. And today, by the way, is the last time that I use Eternal, and I'm using it all over my lid, and then I top it with shimmer shades. So if I use the eyeshadow this way, I'm using quite a bit of product, so that's why I've been able to finish these two eyeshadows up. I'm so happy about it. I just can't believe that I was able to finish another palette in 2025. Granted, it was old and the formula was quite old, those mattes were powdery, the shimmers were crumbly, but still I'm very excited about it. And now let me talk you through each shade and through some statistics about this palette. I won't be doing a separate video on this just because I feel like I have only 4 shades, so I can go through them quite quickly. So here now you will be able to see what this palette looked like when I rolled in and what this palette is looking like right now. So the first shade, Angelic, was a matte light shade that I just finished, and it took me 87 uses to finish it up completely, and I hit pan on my 33rd use. But by the way, I will be talking about my tracked uses. I've had this palette since 2019, I believe, but I've started tracking my uses only in the end of 2024. So basically I know that I've had a lot more uses on this palette just because it was one of my favorite palettes in my whole collection for a long time. And as I said, I've been using Angelic all over my lid, in my crease, and as a blush. Let's move on now to the shade Divinity, and it was a light shimmer shade. It took me 97 uses to finish it up completely, and I've hit pan on it on my 31st use. And this shade I've been using as my brow bone highlighter, but also in my inner third of my lid. So the next shade is a darker shimmer shade, Charm. I finished it first just because I've been using it all over my lid, and it took me only 36 uses to finish it up completely, because first of all it was my most used shade in this whole palette before I rolled it into this project, or before I started tracking my uses, but also I've been using it all over my lids, so I would use more of this shade than, for example, the shade Divinity. But I've hit pan on it on my 12th use. And the last shade is Eternal. It's a dark matte shade, and it took me 78 uses to finish it up completely, and I've hit pan on it on my 22nd use. And as I said, once again, I've been using it mainly in my outer corners or on my lower lash line before the last update, and after the last update I've started using it also all over my lid in order to help me finish it up a little bit quicker. But I've used this palette, this whole palette, 142 times, which is kind of insane. And when I count my uses for palettes, it means that I use it for one look or for one day. So basically, if I use one shade from this palette, it still counts as a use for the palette, or if I use all 4 shades, it will also count as a use. But I have a little bit of statistics as well. So on average it took me 24 uses to hit pan in this palette, and on average it took me 74 tracked uses to finish a shade in this palette. I'm very happy that I finished this palette, but also I'm quite sad because I will genuinely miss it. I finished my Urban Decay Naked Palette this year, but I know that I won't miss that palette at all, but I will miss this one. I don't know, maybe because it's from Lime Crime, and when I got into makeup, Lime Crime was a very popular brand, everyone was talking about it, and it was, I think, my first purchase from USA. I was living in my home country back then, and I've ordered this palette from USA on Black Friday. I also had a lipstick, a liquid lipstick from Lime Crime, and I've also had some brushes. They were free gift with purchase, but it was just so exciting for me to purchase something from USA and to just wait for it and then to use it, because this palette wasn't available in my home country at that point. But I will genuinely miss them, and but I will genuinely miss it. I really like the quality even now. I really like the shade. I really like the shades because I really love pink, well, as you are able to see. But on the other hand, I'm really happy that I finished it and that I gave it a lot of love this year. A part of me wants to go on Vinted and buy another lime creme palette, but I know that that's not a good idea. But I will be bringing my Painted palette back in 2026. I really enjoyed doing this project this year, and I believe that my introduction will go up on 1st of January. I think I've already chosen my Painted palette for next year, but I want to try using it in December a couple of times and just get a feel of these palettes that I've chosen. But that will be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I hope you will stay with me on my project painting journey. Thank you again so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!